Welcome back, everybody. It's game number 4 here at the Omen Encounter Grand Finals. Nightblue's team, starting on the blue side this game, is up 2-1 over Voyboy's team, who, after looking good in game number 1, kind of have gone downhill since then, whereas Nightblue's team has continued to go kind of up and up.
Yeah, Nightblue's team apparently just when the second that first loss came out for them and they got crushed by that Jax pick, their total attitude has changed completely. They're playing so much better, so much more consistently, and I think a lot of that is because Nightblue is starting to find his stride, getting early advantages for his teams in both of these games, feeling really confident, and Sicko Squat, quite frankly, not stepping up in these games. I'm interested to see. I think this jungle matchup, it's becoming clearer and clearer as a crucial part of the game. Will we see the same exact pick and ban phase coming out in this game 3? We're starting with the same exact bans.
Yep. Blitzcrank and Thresh being targeted towards I am Matt Life. Of course, nobody wants him on those hook-based champions, which he did get Thresh in game number 1, and coincidentally, that's the game that Voyboy's team will end up winning. Janna being banned out once again here against Matt Life. So that may kind of point towards like, hey, Azingi's played Leona twice so far since that Vilcaz has been banned out. Game 1, he played Janna. Game 2, he played Leona, and they banned the Janna. Game 3, he played the Leona against the Janna, and they had a little bit of a tough time in that bottom lane. So maybe just be something, once again, signaling that they want to take that Leona. Vilcaz, Rek'Sai, and Jarvan, however, being the bans out from Voyboy's side. And this kind of puts Nightblue's team in a predicament. Do they go for the Gnar, or do they go for the Lee Sin?
I would say the least in here, we've seen Voyboy very confident on that Jax pick, but the real question is, does Zen the Solo King really comfortable, or does he play any other champions that he's really comfortable on? So the Gnar obviously very powerful here, but the Lee Sin, I think, a more crucial piece of this team component, and it looks like they are going to lock it in. How's Voyboy going to respond is my big question.
Yeah, with the Gnar left open, are they going to be able to pick that one away from Zen the Solo King, or are they just going to continue to pick the Jax into that matchup and let Nightblue's team kind of get this more mobile, more early, more team fight oriented composition with a dedicated tank in the top lane? I mean, we're going to have to see from this one. It looks like they're just going to go with the bottom lane pickup here, taking something away from Azingi of all players on the opposing team. Graves and Leona are going to be the lock-ins here for Voyboys.
Graves and Leona, a very strong, very aggressive lane, but by taking both of those champions, you're giving up the two most powerful top laners in the current meta, Lissandra and Gnar. That Lissandra pick, however, now committed to mid lane, does give them a little bit of a disadvantage, but what we've seen in the past when Nightblue is on that Lee Sin is that he knows Lissandra provides enough CC that he can get in there and get off easy ganks every time Lissandra has her ultimate available, and also pre-6 whenever he has that chilling smite. So Moonway, going to be a lot of pressure on him to perform, and will he be able to survive in this early game? Looks like he may try to pick up a Kassadin here. Kassadin, doesn't have a very strong early game, will survive against Lissandra just because of how little damage she does in the early stages of the game, but with Nightblue bearing down on that lane almost guaranteedly, you got to wonder who the early advantage is going to go to, especially with Sicko Scott now getting this Pantheon.
Well, the big thing is, too, Kassadin could still wind up in the top lane for Voyboy. That could be a home for Kassadin as well. But with both the solo laners already locked in, you kind of got to pick and choose your battles. Which one is Kassadin going to thrive in a little bit more? A semi-melee top lane matchup, or a matchup where Lissandra, the AP mid lane mage, is going to be continuously spamming Qs at him and trying to get the damage down and abuse the fact that he has to walk up into melee range to really last hit and sustain his mana pool with his W active. We're going to have to see where the Kassadin winds up, but just looking at the pickups from the side of Nightblue's team, like metagame and all that knowledge aside, throughout the entire Omen encounter, these have been the top champions that you've seen on the winning sides for these teams, whether it be during the regular season or in the playoffs. You have 4 of the top picks right there: Corki, Lissandra, Gnar, Lee Sin. These are the things that just slipped through, and Voyboy's team instead counter pick with that Leona. So the Leona, the Kassadin, they're really gonna have to pay dividends because Nightblue's team pretty much got like the top picks in the tournament.
I am Matt Life, a trademark aggressive player when he has that Leona pick. So really interesting that they opted to get him that as Zingy on something he may not be comfortable with. But I really question Voyboy's team's decision making to put so much emphasis on shutting down a Zingy. You see no worry given to the Gnar. But so much emphasis put on this Rek'Sai and on this J4. You know, J4 obviously someone Zen the Solo King is very comfortable with, but you would think that Voyboy on a variety of different champions, Cassiopeia this game, would be a little bit more comfortable in those kind of matchups. Maybe a little bit too much respect given to the Jarvan pick, especially given that Nightblue's team didn't even prioritize it. Or I guess they were never given the opportunity to pick it, to be fair.
No, they weren't. It was banned away every game except for the last one in which Voyboy's team was on the blue side. They were able to pick it up first. Although it does look like that there might be some mind games going on here. We'll have to see. Is it going to be Voyboy taking Cassiopeia? Or is it going to be Moonway taking Cassiopeia? Is Voyboy going to be in top lane? Or is Moonway going to be in top lane? We still have a couple of seconds left on the clock to figure that one out. But the raw damage output from Voyboy's team has definitely stepped up with the Cassiopeia, the Kassadin, the Pantheon, and the Graves in this game. But looking at their team, they've gone from having like a sort of pseudo-tanky character in Jax to not having one at all.
Voyboy is definitely playing this now as we have finished up this pick and ban phase. Zingy on the Lulu as well. And these are the two big questions. You know, we've seen Pantheon jungle. We've seen Kassadin mid. We've seen Graves. We've seen all of these champions except for the Cassiopeia top. Actually, we've seen it once in this tournament, which Voyboy played very efficiently. You know, not sure how it's going to work out in this match, though. There's a lot of pressure on him to perform in this early game. Will he get shut down by Zen the Solo King once more? Or will he have a better impact here? This is something he plays a lot in solo queue. Will it transfer to the rank 5s environment? And of course, a Zingy picking up an ever interesting champion pool, did not opt to go Rengar this game, which I think is, you can just tell he's taking these games very seriously, going with Lulu, a much more conventional support, but not one we've seen in a long time. So curious to see exactly how this works out. Will Voyboy's attention to target banning a Zingy and Zen the Solo King work out in this situation, or is it going to fall flat, and are they going to lose this series to Nightblue?
Well, we're going to have to wind up finding out about that one. Nightblue's team, I still think, looks to be extremely, extremely strong on paper. Most of those picks, aside from the Lulu that we haven't seen all too much so far in the OMEN encounter, have really been the dominating forces in their respective lanes. But Golden Glue on Lissandra, we saw him so far on Cinder, we saw him on Orianna, we saw him on LeBlanc. We'll see how he does in this Lissandra versus Kassadin matchup in the mid lane. And I'm really focused on Voyboy. He's been getting camped a little bit, especially once you get the original, the first gank off from Nightblue in the mid lane on Moonway. Then he starts turning his focus towards Voyboy in the top lane, and with Cassiopeia being squishy, we'll see how it works out for him up there against Zen the Solo King on Gnar for the 4th time in a row. Meanwhile, guys, we're going to let these guys load onto the Rift. We're going to play a couple commercials when we come back. It's game number 4 here. Can Nightblue's team take the 3-1, or will it go to a decisive game 5? Stay tuned.
Friday, these celebrity couples will face the most outrageous marriage boot camp yet.
Have you ever been unfaithful?
But no one's ready to face reality TV's most notorious couple.
What's up, bitches?
Spidey, and what these two do.
I'll knock you the
Game
out.
number 4 here at the OMEN encounter grand finals. Nightblue's team on the blue side, where his name kind of says he's from, and Voyboy and the Boy Scouts on the red side. They got to try to fight back and forth that decisive game number 5, but Nightblue and his team just one win away from making the run through the gauntlet. They 3-0'd Cutie Pie to start things off, 3-0'd Trick 2G yesterday, and can they get the 3-1 against Voyboy? We'll have to see here. Voyboy getting early aggression here on the Fabi. The Zenith Blade goes out, a lot of damage coming on to Fabi, but no summoner spells or anything burned in that exchange, just forcing Fabi back, wanting to get some of that early game ward advantage that they've gotten every single game thus far.
Interesting choice from Sicko Scott not to take the stun there in that situation. Maybe not confident in his damage, or maybe leveling a skill a little bit too early in that situation. So what I'm wondering at this point is, what are they going to do with this early vision? We have seen them use it to map Jungle Pass before, but of course, Nightblue's team responding very smart with their own deep vision wards, and in fact, a lot more of them. They're going to know exactly where Sicko Scott is going to start, and this may transition into Nightblue trying to get an early invade off. We saw Voyboy's team fail to do this earlier in the game. They did end up getting Nightblue's flash, but will Nightblue's team as a whole be more successful with those early invades? I'm not sure. You know, I'm not really exactly sure how this Cassiopeia top is going to function. A very interesting champion, obviously scales well into the late game, but not something we've seen a whole ton of, you know?
No, not exactly. I'm not all too familiar with it either, and I'm really interested to see how it's going to go against a Gnar pickup. If Gnar gets some transformations after he levels up a little bit, and he's able to jump on top of that Cassiopeia, she's really got nowhere to run. She's just really all about that brawl and everything. So we'll see if Zen the Solo King is going to change up his build. The first game he went super tanky, and the next couple games he went Brutalizer before building tanky. We'll see if he opts for a bit more magic resistance during the lane phase before building some itemization towards the damage for himself. We did see at the bottom side of the map, Matlife poking his head over by the Krugs, and they saw that's where Nightblue's going to start out. At the same time, Sicko Scott started at his own Gromp. So both of the junglers on the same side of the map going to be making their way up towards the top side to get that second buff first. Wouldn't be surprised to maybe see more action focused towards the mid lane this game though. Nightblue's just really love putting the pain down on Moonway early on.
Zen the Solo King definitely looking very dominant in this top lane, easily able to dodge those blasts coming out, but Golden Glue pushing out the lane with that early AoE wave clear, but suffering in these trades simply because of the magic shield that Cassidy is able to produce every time he uses that Null Sphere. So as this lane goes forward, you know, once we approach level 6, it's very quickly going to go in the favor of Moonway in terms of one-on-one trading, but there's a lot of pressure on the junglers to have an impact here, simply because neither of these champions have a whole ton of kill pressure pre-6, but both can do incredibly well with jungle ganks.
Well, we're going to have to see where those jungle ganks do wind up going first. Both of them have cleared out their early jungle on the bottom side of the map and then decided to go back and pick up some items for themselves. Nightblue, with 2 extra jungle minions killed for himself, has opted to go for the Stalker's Blade as well as a green ward, whereas on the opposite side, just a Stalker's Blade for Sicko Scott. Bottom lane, some early aggression and trades. Fabi taking a bit of damage for his troubles right there. A Zingy on that Lulu, not necessarily like the Janna he played earlier on, still has a shield, a little bit more poke damage, but a lot more mana intensive as well.
Yeah, Zingy clearly not quite as comfortable on this pick. You do see that he did start with that mana pot, so he will be a little bit better off. I am Matlife going for a little different path as far as masteries go. You see he has gone at least a little bit into utility. Definitely playing a little safer in this lane, but knowing full well the power of Leona in this situation and trying to do the best to zone Fabi and Zingy off of this lane. Not too much of an effect here. You see once again Fabi, as always with this quirky pick, dropping behind a little bit in CS in the early game, but maybe one Braille a little bit too eager to push this lane out. Will he be able to get anything from playing so forward and aggressive here?
Well, we'll have to see if he does wind up making anything for his troubles there. Bottom lane has been a bit about Braille and Matlife this entire series, and this early stage of this lane phase here in game number 4, not looking to be all too different. 29 CS compared to the 23. Braille's gotten CS advantages in every single game over Fabi, but the movement around the map from Nightblue's team going for these dragons, getting some kills down and fighting them in the river area and towards the areas of the jungle has gotten Fabi the gold through other means such as kills, assists, and global objectives. We'll have to see if they're going to continue going for this play style or not, as action seems to be focused in the top lane. Voyboy and Sicko Scott diving Zen the Solo King. They kill him before he transforms. Their first blood goes over to Sicko Scott. Nightblue coming in, trying to get down to the Voyboy. Voyboy with no mana has the poison taken away, and Voyboy's going to get a kill on Nightblue. A 2 for the price of none, and an early game start here for Voyboy.
Zen the Solo King, unfortunately, out of every one of his major cooldowns, not getting quite enough rage in that situation to transform and give himself a little bit of a health buff. A game of inches up there in the top lane. Just a little bit more damage from him would have guaranteed perhaps a double kill in the other way, but Voyboy now 1-0-1. Getting that early advantage means he's going to quickly transform into the lane bully that his team needs. Sicko Scott, of course, still alive after that gank, also going to be able to provide pressure into that mid lane, forcing Golden Blue out of lane.
Oh, Zingy getting jumped on here by Matlife. The Ignite is down, a flash forward, and Matlife secures the kill right there. Fabi with the Valkyrie backwards after dealing some damage to Braille. Fabi's health bar about as full as the 2 left in bottom lane, but it's still a 2v1 as they pick up that kill on a Zingy.
Fabi has to play very careful here. You saw him burn that heal to try to save his ally in that situation. Wasn't fast enough, however. Nightblue is coming in.
Nightblue coming in. Oh, he's going to get stunned up by Matlife. Flashes away here from the phosphorus bomb. A flash forward from Fabi as well. Brill and Matlife going to get out from that one. Nightblue not getting the same early game pressure that he was in the previous matches. Voyboy, in the meantime, he got a blue buff off of that kill on top lane as well. Forces the flash win from Zen the Solo King with his ultimate right there. The Petrifying Gaze missing out on that one, but still tons of damage coming out in that top lane.
Normally, Voyboy would be very limited with this early tier itemization. Obviously wants to stack that up, get to that later game power spike, get a little bit of defensiveness from that Seraph's Embrace, but because he's so far ahead, doesn't lose out at all in the situation, and is actually ahead despite that early tier buy. You can see how much sustained damage Cassiopeia can do in this situation, and as she continues to get those poison stacks, she's going to become more and more of a threat when he hits that first one. Of course, going to be able to get some healing off of Twin Fag, or maybe it's the second stack, and once he does that, he'll be able to out-sustain Zen the Solo King all day, and that's got to be a big concern for Nightblue's team as a whole.
Well, right now, Voyboy with these advantages in top lane. Level 7 and a blue buff compared to level 5 of Zen the Solo King. 52 compared to 38 in the CS marks up there. Decent advantage in top lane for Voyboy. Cassidy in the mid lane has gone back for boots and a ruby crystal, potentially going towards a Rod of Ages for himself, whereas a double door entering has been the purchase for Golden Glue with some money still in his pocket. He's got a 50 compared to 44 CS advantage. Not a lot considering Cassidy has to get really close to get some of that CS down. Bottom lane is 58 compared to 49 in favor of Braille, but going back to the top lane where we started, Voyboy getting jumped on here by Zen the Solo King, the Gnar against the wall, the slam, the house, and Nightblue to kill secure right there for Voyboy. That's going to be the problem in that Gnar versus Cassiopeia matchup. Once he gets on you, she can't run away.
Unfortunately for Voyboy, you can see him correctly start to read the situation, realizing that the Gnar was going to come in there and that he could have won that 1v1, wondering why Zen the Solo King was going so ham, and you can see when it dawned on him as he started to run backwards, knowing that Nightblue was on the ways, but it was too little too late as Zen the Solo King transformed into Gnar there, knocked him into the wall, and an easy kill pickup for the team as a whole. Good map movement from Nightblue once again. Despite that early misstep, still going to create an advantage for his team. Balance out a little bit of this laning disadvantage that Zen the Solo King is suffering for. You can see Zen most likely rushing that Hex Drinker in this situation. Hex Drinker obviously such a powerful MR item, going to do a lot of work in that lane. And curious to see if they can keep moving this advantage forward. They do end up getting the turret, and now, you know, all eyes are on the top lane. And can Voyboy come back from this? And what is this Cassiopeia pick going to do, especially if he keeps getting caught out?
Well, while Nightblue was away in the top lane, the bottom lane is where Sicko Scott decided to play, and they wound up getting a dragon for the price of that one. Voyboy and his tower go down, but the first dragon buff goes over to Voyboy and his voice scouts, which is something they haven't had all series so far. So 1-0 in the dragon buffs for Voyboy's team. However, the tower count, the kills, goes over to Nightblue in that circumstance. So still pretty much worth, but at least being able to move around the map and capitalize on where Nightblue is not going to be. Bottom lane here, Matlif's going to want to put the ultimate down onto a Zingy, waiting for the stun. The collateral damage comes off as well. The man drop from Pantheon comes in. It's going to be 2 kills to the price of none right there. Sicko Scott helps secure those as one Braille picks up another kill there onto Fabi. That's going to be 2 down in the bottom lane as Nightblue comes down here just to try to defend, making sure they're not taking a tower on top of all that.
Excellent map movement from Sicko Scott to get that ult off just about perfectly. Nightblue a little bit late to the party. The same thing we saw happen in top lane. Sicko Scott clearly stepping up his game this round. 2-0-2, gonna finish up that warrior enchantment shortly, turning into a pretty big threat. You can see that he's provided a lot of vision for the team as well, and is using that ult pretty efficiently. And Nightblue once again falling behind, you know, has shown a lot of confidence on this Lee Sin pick in the past, but is it smart movement or is it more of a right place, right time situation? Only the time will tell. Can Nightblue keep getting off good rotations, or is he gonna consistently show up late like we saw there?
Well, one of the good things here from Sicko Scott is his presence in the early game has been felt a lot more. Already 2 kills and 2 assists in the early 10 minutes of this game. Previous games, he hasn't really been felt as much, even when he played Pantheon the last time. He played Lee Sin and Jarvan. It didn't really work out as early on, but meanwhile, speaking of Lee Sin, he's in the mid lane here. Nightblue helps Golden Glue secure a kill onto Moonway, as then the Solo King roams down as well. Might be looking to put some pressure on this mid lane tier 1 tower, trying to play the tower game. Nightblue goes in, he flashes and kicks Sicko Scott backwards. Sicko Scott just flashes and stuns on top of him as Matlife picks up that kill. Golden Glue is going to want to get him slowed up, but then the Solo King gets turned to stone by Voyboy teleporting in. Sicko Scott goes on a killing spree. 3-0-3 now for the Pantheon. 2-0-2 for Leona. Partners in crime from the same region from Mount Targon. They unite for 5 kills and 5 assists.
Nightblue a little bit too hungry to get a greater advantage there, went way too deep on that kill. You know, good utilization of that Lissandra ultimate to lock down that Kassadin, to land the Q, good patience on the Q, but then suddenly, you know, goes way too deep for that attempted kill on Sicko Scott. Not really worth it overall, definitely not reading the situation correctly, and greedy to dive that Leona. I mean, the most they could have hoped for if they had knocked Sicko back and gotten a kill would have been a 1-for-1 exchange. So overall, Nightblue playing a little sloppy. This might be the nerves setting in, maybe a little bit too eager to close this game out, and as a result, putting his team a little bit behind at the stage of the game, 2K behind to be exact.
Yeah, Voyboy's team, the first early advantage they've had in this entire series. It also translates with the kill score, 7 compared to 2. And even though they haven't knocked down a tower quite yet, they defended that mid lane push valiantly, and they've gotten a dragon on their side. So like you said, 2K gold advantage for the Boy Scouts now, and they're going to be able to start securing some things like vision control, at least around the river and their own jungle. Nightblue hasn't really been able to make as many moves and invades as he has in the last couple of early games, and more importantly, there's only been one gank on the Moonway in the mid lane. It was after that dragon was already taken by Voyboy's team, so Nightblue hasn't been able to really roll from one advantage and snowball it into another and then continue to push forward and take the gold lead this game. Voyboy's team doing a really great job of just minimizing their losses in this game.
I'm really not understanding why Nightblue's team is not putting more of an emphasis on this mid lane. Lysandra, as a mid laner, doesn't really offer too much to your team unless you can utilize her ult well. Of course, she can ult at any time to lock down the castle and have immediate follow-up from her team. They will get the turret here, so a good little bit of effort there, but at level 6, they could have kept ganking Moonway, kept shutting him down. Anytime Lysandra gets a good ult off with Lisa in there to follow up, that spells death for Moonway. And Moonway, of course, not doing too well in items, but is going to scale up much better than this Lysandra, going to be able to 1v1 a lot of people into the late game, and just going to be able to use that mobility so well now that his tower is gone.
Well, we'll have to see what Moonway winds up doing here. He has picked up a Catalyst the Protector for himself, but he also does have a Amplifying Tome in his inventory. Top lane, though, seems to be where the action's going down. Voyboy getting locked up by the Frozen Tomb. Goldenglue's going to want it going down, though. Then the Solo King has his Hexdrinker shield popped on top of that one. So in a 2v1 situation, Voyboy trying to turn things around. Then the Solo King very close to transforming. Not yet at that red rage bar, though. Has to flash away from Moonway. Moonway not going to be able to get the Rift Walk over the wall in that circumstance. And the Solo King gonna get out live.
Zen the Solo King, smart play there to flash and throw the Boomerang Blade. Did not have quite enough rage to transform there, so desperately, if Moonway had tried to pursue, that Boomerang Blade would have hit him and would have given Zen the Solo King the last little bit of rage necessary to transform. However, because he did not, it ends up just being a wasted flash, but good call from Moonway to see that coming and to not overextend in that situation. Gnar obviously still has that insane amount of burst, and with a Hexdrinker, Moonway doesn't really have any damage at this point, so the majority of his base stats are going to be mitigated.
Moonway just shoving out that top lane right now on Kassadin. Bottom side of the map, Braille and Matlife still continuing to have a field day against this Fabi and Azingi combination. They're going to combine for a 3-0-4 score on the bottom lane with 135 CS compared to 108. And it's a 0-3-0 bottom lane duo from Fabi and Azingi. Without the relief from Nightblue, without that early dragon, without the pressure they've been able to get elsewhere on the map, Fabi and Azingi they're falling behind in this bottom lane duo matchup, and it's really starting to pay off for the aggression that Braille and Matlife have been putting on this bottom lane for pretty much this whole series. It's going to start up again with this dragon respawns over here. Matlife going to go in there on Zen the Solo King, and now we have ourselves in a precarious 5v5 position. No tower in the mid lane for Lysandra to pressure down on, but it looks like Goldenglue might be trying to push towards the tier 2, make that an issue. Fabi was stuck on the other side of the dragon pit, but it's given him enough time to wrap his quirky self around that one, and now he's rejoined with the rest of the team. Voyboy's team, though, they're going to be pinched into this part of their own jungle, funneled through that little entry point. Matlife, however, is about half HP, but Sicko when you want the Pantheon, I'll try to jump in. Leona ultimate in the Pantheon ultimate, synergize to take down Nightblue. Braille on the backside is going to get locked up by the Frozen Tomb, and Gnar comes in, Gnar's him against the wall, the slam, the jam, and it's a triple kill there for Goldenglue. The AoE of Lysandra just melts everybody in that confined space, and Nightblue's team take a 3-for-1, no jungler, no problem. Dragon goes to them as well, the first one for their team.
Leona a little bit too confident on following up on that Lee Sin pick, and then of course the excellent ult from Goldenglue followed up immediately by the 3-man Gnar from Gnar himself. Pretty much ended that team fight definitively in the favor of Nightblue's squad. Beautiful team fighting. This is exactly what the lineup wants to do, and that's the danger of putting two champions who have enough CC to solo carry a team fight together. Lysandra and Gnar alone doing the damage and the work necessary to bring that one out in their favor, and suddenly what was once a gold advantage for Voyboy is now a gold deficit, 1k in the favor of Nightblue's squad as a whole, and then of course that first dragon as well going to play in huge here.
I'm just shocked that this Gnar got through picks and bans for the 4th time in a row, and that Zen the Solokin's been allowed to do this every single game. Just the initiation after the Leona ultimate was burned, once Pantheon jumped in, all it took was just Gnar jumping into the backlines and shoving everybody against the wall, and it just decimated them. Even though they have the Leona AoE ultimate and the Cassiopeia ultimate that kind of want people in the little area, just being confined against the walls to the point where Lissandra's AoE can really take effect after the Gnar CC comes in, decimated Voyboy's team there. Nightblue actually kind of going in and trying to clear out this pink ward that's been left over by the river area, taking a lot of pain and punishment for his troubles. But Nightblue's team now, they've turned around this lead that Voyboy's team had. It's 26.5k to 25.3k. It's a 1.3k gold lead that's now in favor of Nightblue's team.
So the Slowking has to be careful here. He may get engaged on.
Well, he walks through a bit of a miasma, but a shove against the wall there. The slam, the jam. Voyboy taking on Extreme Low. Petrifying Gaze going to buy time for Sicko's got to come in here. The stun as well, and Voyboy's going to be able to pick up the kill there with help from his jungler.
Voyboy doing a lot of work in that situation. Good response from Sicko Scott. They had to plan that one out ahead of time. Had to be very careful with how they approach it. Just because, you know, clearly Voyboy alone doesn't have enough damage to beat that Gnar in the 1v1 situation, but when you have Sicko Scott there to follow up, and when Voyboy can use that Cryptic Gaze into, not Cryptic Gaze, sorry, that's Scion's old stun.
Paralyzing Gaze.
Petrifying Gaze.
Moonway gonna hop over the wall, but as does Nightblue and Fabi. Now Matlife coming, collateral damage from Braille, but Golden Glue joining the fray with a blue buff on him and a lot of damage from that needless supply drop from Morello. Namicon, they pick up 1, give it to Fabi. A double kill goes for 2. That's Corky now picking up 2 kills from nowhere now. Fabi got back on the board. Lissandra coming in from Golden Glue, big factor. And Voyboy's team, there was no dragon. There was maybe a couple wars over there. Why did they go in?
Voyboy's team as a whole maybe not making the best decisions, understanding that vision control will win this game, but not picking the best opportunities to find it. You know, all the lanes pushed in, them not showing up, gives Nightblue's team a pretty clear sign that they have to be pushing for vision somewhere, in just unfortunate second of circumstances to catch out the team as a whole. One Braille sticking around too long, trying to convince his team to engage the fight there, but when you're immediately Lissandra ulted, you are gonna die, especially when you're that squishy Graves at this stage in the game.
Well, more importantly, that squishy Graves hasn't really been able to push forward the advantages they had in that bottom lane. I was singing the praises of the laning phase for Braille and Matlife before, and how they had basically was like a 4-0-4 or 3-0-3 advantage over the 0-3-0 bottom lane coming out from Nightblue's team and Fabi and Azingi. But after that dragon fight and after that weird vision war over by the dragon pit area when it was empty, this has given Fabi new life into this game. He's gotten his sorcerer shoes, he completed his Trinity Force, and he's immediately gone to pick up that Quicksilver sash. So now he's going to be able to escape the Leona lockup, escape the Pantheon lockup, Valkyrie away, and get to the safety of his team. And then you're gonna have to deal with that Gnar jumping into your faces, pushing you against the wall, the Lee Sin kicking a target backwards with Corky. It's going to be very, very dangerous, the fact that they've given up this lead. Let's see if they're going to be able to capitalize on potentially just shoving him out while he doesn't have an extra attack damage item, though. They are going to be able to go into the bottom lane and pick up that outer tower. It's the second one of the game for Voyboy's team, the first one they've gotten in the bottom side of the map.
Gold now tied up for both teams. One thing I do want to note is that Azingi on this Lulu pick may not be having the best game 0-2 and 5, but is going to scale up so well as we move into the late game. Lulu not needing too many items to scale well, scales very well with level, has very high base stats, and of course that ultimate is going to do so much work.
Rail trying to get a kill on the solo game, but in comes Golden Glue from the side. The Frozen Tomb goes off. Nightblue going up by the blue buff. He wants it going down. Voyboy teleports in. Voyboy destroyed right there. Fabi picks up the kill, but Voyboy was able to get a kill on Azingi. Golden Glue goes on a rampage as he picked up the kill on Matlife, and now it's Sicko Scott and Moonway against the remaining 3 members of Nightblue's team. Golden Glue picks up another kill on the Cassidon. 6, 1, and 5 on Lissandra. Golden Glue looking good this game.
Golden Glue doing so much work. Constant, consistent, strong engages. Really smart in every single one of these team fights. That exhaust from Azingi paying off dividends, shutting down that Cassiopeia damage output, knowing that that's going to be a crucial piece when playing against Voyboy on that champion. Good choice. You know, not having Ignite may have made that tough laning phase even tougher, but as we transition into sort of this team fight phase, that exhaust is going to be so much more powerful as pretty much Voyboy goes from doing, you know, enough damage to kill a whole team to no damage at all.
Well, despite all of these fights going now heavily in favor of Nightblue's team, the kills are evened up at 12 apiece, and the gold count, while it's still about 1.5k in favor of Nightblue's team, hasn't increased for Nightblue's team since they took that last Dragon fight. Now with Dragon coming onto the map right here, it is live, as is Baron across the side of the map. We'll have to see if another fight breaks out to really swing the gold in favor of one of these teams. It's 3 towers compared to 2, and that, as well as maybe a couple of farm on the side of Nightblue's team, is really all of the difference here. Voyboy's team has wrestle control of the Scuttle Crab. Meganar has actually transformed up in that top lane. The teleport is available, and that's actually going to be used, but Meganar is ticking down very, very quickly. Sicko Scott going in, tries to get the Dragon, but it goes over to Nightblue. Lee Sin Smite steals that one. Meganar goes in, Meganar hops out. He de-transforms right here as Voyboy picks up a kill on the Zingy, but Sicko Scott goes down at the same exact time. It is a 1-for-1 trade. Nobody really came out on top of that fight, but Nightblue coming in with a really nice Dragon steal.
Nightblue with a good Dragon Steel pretty much made that fight for the team. The 1-for-1 exchange on kills, not a huge deal. Junglers for support, though, definitely a little bit in favor of Nightblue's squad as a whole. And my big question is, with Golden Glue and Zen the Solo King burning their major forms of CC, why didn't Voyboy's team commit? You know, we saw no commitment there, despite the fact that all major cooldowns had been blown. Voyboy, knowing the exhaust was down, was free to do damage, but now instead of hitting the team fight in the Dragon Pit that would have won him something, he's going to go down under that turret and give up the inhibitor here.
Yeah, what is going on with Voyboy's team? 2 of them were down in the bottom lane, split pushing, and Nightblue's team just said, all right, let's group up mid lane, free inhibitor for us. They pick up 2 additional kills on top of that. Kassadin's going to try to chase after people, but only Golden Glue and Nightblue are fairly low, and it's a 4v1 if they go for that chase. Braille was down there as well, and real big miscommunication from Voyboy's team, and decisive calls from Nightblue's squad just completely flipped that one around. I thought, like, oh, okay, 1-for-1, a Dragon Steel, they're just going to wind up pushing back against each other in a lane, but Voyboy's team just gave up so much ground there for no real reason.
This is one of the big strengths of Zen the Solo King as a player, is that he's always decisive when it comes to engaging under those inhibitor towers. So many of these teams play too many games hesitating, but when it comes time to dive, Zen the Solo King is the player you want on your team. He's decisive, he makes the call, he goes in, and he follows through. And in situations like that, where Voyboy was overextended and where I Am Matlife was powerless to help him, they're going to be able to get those big advantages. So poor decision from Moonway, like you said, to be down in that bottom lane. And overall, Voyboy just not respecting the engage potential coming out from Nightblue's side.
Well, Nightblue's team now finds themselves with super minions pushing down the mid lane. That means we can put vision down on in the river. We can try pushing onto the opponent's side of the map in their jungle. Look at all the blue dots on the side of the red buffs in Voyboy's team. There's so many wards forward played for Nightblue's team, and now they're baiting out the Baron Pit area. Voyboy and his scouts look like, well, the scouts are pushing down the mid lane, and Voyboy is still in the top lane. Matlife gonna walk into this brush with no vision control, though. He's gonna be dropped down to half HP by Nightblue and Zen the Solo King. Zen the Solo King looking for the Meganar transform, jumps in, but the Rift walk away from Kassadin means he's not gonna bounce on their heads and get into a good spot to gnar them back into a wall. They're gonna have to disengage here, them being the Voice Scouts, of course, but their captain, their captain is caught out in his own jungle. The Frozen Tomb from Golden Glue. The rest of the team collapses, and Voyboy goes down.
Golden Glue would have gone down there in the 1v1 situation, but Nightblue, playing the superior role of captain at this stage in the game, came in to clean up that kill, ensure the safety of Golden Glue, and now a little bit more domination coming in from Nightblue's side. They do have the option to try to take Baron here. They have to be careful about how they do it, but with super minions pushing down that mid lane, you know, Voyboy's team as a whole is going to be hard-pressed to contest any kind of objective.
Well, right now, Voyboy's team is looking to be in dire straits. The gold counts less than 5,000 apart from each other, but Nightblue's team is just swinging this gold lead seemingly from out of nowhere, turning small fights that shouldn't necessarily be big things into complete gold swings right now. Wards continue to go down on the red side, the red jungle area from the red team, so they're continuously getting this forward vision. Pink wards aplenty down there as well. Voyboy's team's gonna have to stop and, well, Matt Life and Braille just walk over that pink ward right there. So maybe they're not going to stop and try to put wards down over there, but they're going to have to be hard pressed to get into contention for this Baron pit area. Nightblue's team, they've been really good at controlling these choke points into and actually on the objectives of Baron and Dragon, and looks like they're not going to stop here, Sifa. It's 6 towers compared to 4. The Dragons right now, it is currently 2-1 in favor of Nightblue's team, and it looks like that they just might be going straight for Baron.
They are going to be able to take this Baron if they opt to start it now because there is no vision control, but it appears that they want to play this a little bit more carefully, knowing the potential that Baron has to swing the game. If they fail to take it, I am Matt Life trying to get a little bit of vision there. But, you know, at this stage of the game, it's very hard for Voyboy's team to respond and do anything. Pretty much their only option is to try to get a catch out here, and you see how difficult that's going to get because Golden Glue continuing to scale up. Lysandra, you know, not known for doing a ton of damage, but when she's this far ahead, it's going to be huge. You see her buying that elixir, getting that extra buff that it gives you on top of the cooldown reduction means that ult will always be available, but you know, with that ult always available, there's pretty much no good way for Voyboy's team to initiate a fight.
I don't even know if Voyboy's team wants to initiate a fight at this point. They just don't want to be initiated on. But speaking of, here comes Nightblue's team. The Frozen team onto Braille. Moonway's going to get caught between a rock and a hard place. He goes down. Braille's going to follow after that one. Nightblue's the one who picks up that kill. Voyboy split push Cassiopeia on the bottom side of the map. Not going to do much. Matt Life is recalling over by the Dragon Pit area. And Nightblue's team, they don't even need an extra Dragon or Baron. They're just going to be pushing into the enemy base, maybe even looking to end this one. They push up into the mid lane, and I guess they realize, hey, we have no more minions over here. We can't fight in these Nexus towers. Voyboy, Matt Light, and Sicko Scott have returned to the base. They're just going to wind up walking and moseying themselves back out towards the Baron pit area, continuously clearing wards out as they go. Nightblue's team, I don't even know if they're going to be able to contest this dragon with only 3.
Voyboy's team, yeah, you're right. Probably not going to be able to contest in this situation. Voyboy himself running in along with Iron Matt. Like, has to be careful here, though. Zen Solo King playing incredibly aggressive to deny any vision to this hit. Voyboy as well. Zen Solo King may have to give up his life, but it looks like Nightblue's team is going to be able to secure that Baron.
Yeah, Sicko Scott had his ultimate available, but actually does not have his ultimate available, so he could not get into that pit. But Moonway actually, as well as Voyboy, going to get some exit kills from the Baron pit area over there. Nightblue's team are able to secure the Baron kill. However, they lose 2 of their own members for it, so 3 Baron buffs left open. Voyboy now finds himself a Golden Glue. Is he going to wind up sensing a kill? Lulu is on the backside, does not quite have the Wild Growth available, though, so they are going to wind up backing away from this one. Voyboy's team on the opposite side, though, they're going to decide to go for Dragon. This is not going to be a unbalanced Dragon, that's going to be an equalizing Dragon. Both of the teams have gotten 2 in their buffs so far.
2 Dragon buffs, not crucial at all. The 3rd, the 1st, and the 5th, pretty much the only important ones at this stage of the game. I mean, I'm sure Voyboy's team would love to have that 4th buff just to get the buff damage to the Baron buff improved minions. However, they don't, and so as a result, it's going to be very hard to clear out these waves. And like I mentioned earlier, you know, Nightblue squad as a whole very confident when it comes to diving these towers, and they can easily, with Baron buff, push down this middle lane and get this free open inhibitor. But it looks like right now they want to play it a little bit safer, a little bit slower. You see Fabi going to get that red buff as well, and the blue buff still available, although no one has opted to take it yet.
Nobody quite yet, but we'll probably see that one going over as soon as Nightblue's team gets off the opponent's side of the map. Might not be all too concerned about that one right now, but they are setting their sights on pushing something down. The mid lane inhibitor has respawned for Voyboy's team, and these Baron buffs ticking away on Nightblue's side. They want to use them to push those minions up further and further. Continuing with the vision control in their favor, they're trying to get somebody out in the jungle here. However, the scrying orb, the blue trinket going off from Braille, is going to wind up finding Golden Glue, so now they have some vision of where the rest of Nightblue's team is going to be moving around. Instead of trying to go for a pick, they decide to go for the push on the open inhibitor mid lane here. Baron buff is up, no minions there, but they'll be joining them in just a second. We're going to start seeing the inhibitor dance in the mid lane here. Zen the Solo King on the front line, going to be taking a little bit of damage from Voyboy. Already the ultimate came out. Voyboy going to get locked up there. The Frozen 2, he goes down. This could be it, Sifa. Nightblue picks up 1 kill over here on the Sicko Scott. Another one from Fabi down onto I Am Matt Life. Narf shoves them against their own inhibitor. Moonway goes into Zanyas. He picks up a kill onto Golden Glue, but he wants it going down to Nightblue. Now it's Braille against the world here. 1v4. Minions pushing into the base with Baron buff. No super minions quite yet. Graves, is he going to be able to pull out the impossible? Gnar jumps in. Gnar says no. The ace comes out. It's a 5-for-1. And Nightblue's team comes through the Omen encounter. Gauntlet in the playoffs. They take down PewDiePie 3-0. Trick falls 3-0. And now Voyboy and the Boy Scouts, they fall 3-1 to Nightblue's team. Congratulations. They win Omen encounter.
GG, such decisive play. Good choice from Nightblue. Nightblue coming in as the 4th seed, an underdog story, second best in the regular weeks, you know, but after drafting what would appear to be a poor team, putting himself in that 4th slot. But as he said during that draft phase, for those of you who watched, I'll take the challenge. I'll earn it. And he sure did. Just knocking Voyboy's team out of contention so decisively, starting off 0-1. I thought we might see the 3-0 in the favor of Voyboy's team after that game 1, but Voyboy looking so shaky, consistently overextending as we moved later and later into these games, and absolutely floored by the fantastic performance coming in from Nightblue and his squad.
Yeah, there's really not much else to say from that one. Nightblue's team came into this one. He had a group of guys that looked like they could be a challenger team. Most of them, actually, Nightblue was the only one without actual challenger team, expansion team, or LCS sort of experience here. Golden Glue definitely proving to be a huge pickup in the mid lane. 8-2 and 13 in that game as Lissandra. His Orianna play was impeccable. He wound up playing a very good Syndra as well as LeBlanc in the previous matches as well. He just wound up being absolutely intangible. I mean, Nightblue and Golden Glue synergy in the mid lane to pick on Moonway to set up those early dragons for most of these games was a really great strategy. It was just easy rinse and repeat for Nightblue's team. And I really got to say, Zen, the solo king in the top lane, kind of like the unsung hero of a lot of these matches. He doesn't have a very impressive scoreline in this game, but all of his Gnar initiations coming in, jumping on top of people's heads, shoving people against walls, and getting everybody into a small area for people like Syndra and like Lissandra to absolutely blow up was amazing. His sense to roam down from the top lane to go mid and help start and secure these objectives with a mid lane kill throughout the playoffs has been awesome to watch. And just looking at Nightblue's team, they went from being a team of 5 players to like 5 individuals to being a team with 5 people on it. So it's been really, really awesome to watch them kind of evolve. And I'm really sad that the event's over now.
Yeah, it'll be a shame not to be able to cast with you anymore, although you did disappear for a few weeks and I was left on my own, but thoroughly enjoyed solo casting. Twitch chat, maybe not quite so much, but overall, thank you to everyone who watched the Omen encounter. Thanks to those of you who voted on omen.gg. Thanks for the support from Wellplay and HP and Intel, our wonderful sponsors. Thank you so much for getting these players together and helping us put on this wonderful tournament.
Of course, you also have to thank all of the captains. PewDiePie, we had Trick, we had Voyboy, and of course your champion Nightblue, and all of the master and challenger tier solo queue players who also set aside lots of time on their, well, occasionally Thursdays and Fridays, but mostly their weekends to come out and play for you guys and put on an awesome tournament. Of course, if you want a full list of the players that were involved in the tournament, as well as, well, to see what your captains look like and check out the list of everybody who was involved, you can head on over to omen.gg, check out the point standings, check out how everything lined up. And of course, you can also see here on the Twitch Wellplayed channel, twitch.tv/wellplayed, go back in time and check out some of the VODs to catch their favorite matches and go back in time to see your favorite moments of the Omen encounter. Of course, like you said, Steve, a big shout out to our sponsors. Guys, everybody who voted on omen.gg for the Omen notebook giveaway, of course, that had been going on throughout the entire tournament. That has wrapped up and finished right now. So if you didn't vote already, well, you missed out. We told you like 17 times every single game. You probably should have done it by then. But huge shout outs to everybody involved, especially the Well-Played production crew, and Kegwin, the guy in the call that nobody can hear, but still likes to mock us in between commercial breaks and stuff like that. Big shout outs to everybody over there. Of course, Sifa, you had some mighty lungs yourself solo casting, and it's been a pleasure to cast with you. If anybody wants to find you on the interwebs, where may they follow you on the social medias?
You could find me on Twitter at LOL_Sifa. It's hard to type in, but LOL_TSEPHA, or Tuesdays on Unto the Rift, or Sundays with Optimus Tom here on the LCS Rundown podcast. Tom, where can they find you?
Well, if you want to follow me on the interwebs of social media, twitter.com is the place to go. Follow at Optimist Tom. Of course, you can follow at WellPlayed.org, not just Wellplayed, on there as well, so you guys can keep up with the awesome production crew that has been here and see all the awesome tournaments that they're going to be tackling. I know they do some other stuff besides League of Legends. Fans of Hearthstone, StarCraft, other games, you guys can check out the stuff they do over there as well. Once again, big shout outs to HP, Intel, and of course the awesome OMEN notebook on your screens right here. Just look how awesome it looks. Guys, it's been an amazing few weeks here. Actually, more like a month and a half. It's been some awesome games at the OMEN Encounter. The final best of 5 did not disappoint. Congratulations to everybody involved, and congratulations to Nightblue and his team for picking up the win. They wound up going 9-1 in the last run of the OMEN playoffs in order to pick up the win. So guys, from all of us here at the OMEN Encounter, for all of you out there in Twitch chat, and for everybody attending Marriage Boot Camp, later!